And Alexi McCammon, MSNBC political analyst and host of the In Sync with Alexi podcast. Welcome to you both. Alexi, Trump and his administration, they're no strangers to backlash. So how significant is it that the president felt the need to publicly address the vocal and broad criticism around the Epstein files?
Yeah, I mean, it's a remarkable turn of events, and I'm reminded of Elon Musk after his tiff with President Trump just a few weeks ago, tweeting that, alleging in a tweet that President Trump himself was in the Epstein files, and that's why they weren't releasing them. Obviously, Elon Musk later deleted that tweet. Maybe because he got pressure from the president or folks around him, maybe because he regretted writing that. Obviously, those are unsubstantiated allegations, but it's very interesting to consider that when you're looking now at the fact that they're not releasing a so-called client list that they alleged to have had. Now you're seeing folks within the administration who were very vocal previously about wanting to release this, saying they're unhappy with President Trump because he's made a 180 on this exact issue. And as Yamiche just mentioned, it's not just folks within the administration, it's his supporters across the country. And so it's perhaps the first significant issue of his presidency this time around, maybe both times around, where we're seeing a real rift between his supporters, some of the most fervent MAGA folks online and offline, and people in top positions like his FBI director.
Mm-hmm. How, Maya, do you interpret the tone of his Truth Social post, considering it is directed at some of his most loyal followers?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a really tricky one for Trump, because his top surrogates for years have, vowed to release the Epstein files and have said, have used this against Democrats and even the Biden administration, whether that was Trump or Pam Bondi, they all kind of fell in this camp. And, it's been a huge part of the conversation on the right-wing podcasting and influencer space. And now they're angry and rejecting this idea that there is no client list and that there is no additional evidence. And, even in February, I was thinking back to Pam Bondi, kind of keeping this issue alive with bringing all of these MAGA influencers into DC and handing out these binders of, what they kind of marketed as declassified records. And everyone would soon learn, some of these were previously leaked. There were really no new revelations. And so that didn't appease anyone. And so I think Trump, he's really coming to Bondi's defense here, and he doesn't like the kind of divisions that we are seeing with his base right now. I mean, he said that last night, I don't like this. We're on the same team here. And he really takes pride in being able to, tout this unified Republican Party under his leadership. And it's been this theme of his second term, trying to kind of avoid this infighting, and this idea being that he stacked his administration with loyalists, that they're MAGA. But as we're beginning to see, there are divisions in MAGA world too on a number of issues, whether it's this or, some of the immigration stuff we've been seeing too.
Yeah, and I'm curious, Alexi, why do you think this particular issue has become such a lightning rod within the MAGA community? I mean, some even saying they didn't vote for this. In fact, they voted for the opposite.
Well, I think it's twofold. Oh, sorry.
Goes to Alexi, I'm sorry.
I think it's twofold. I think it's the potentially child sex trafficking aspect of that. And we know many of the victims of Epstein were underage. And it's also a sense from a lot of folks that, the people in power, whether in business or government or elsewhere, are actually behind the scenes kind of these evil or untrustworthy people. And so there was a desire among MAGA supporters in particular to expose all of those people, many of whom they thought or still think are Democrats. But obviously we don't know. And again, they're saying now that his co-conspirators do not exist. But I think it has to do with those two things, a sense of justice for those victims, and then also wanting to expose people in power who might be doing something nefarious with that power.
So here's something, Maya, because there are some members of the MAGA base. They are accusing the White House of trying to cover up something by saying there is no Epstein client list. Is that the impression you get, or is it possible the White House just oversold the contents of those files?
I mean, look, I don't have the answer to that, but I mean, I will say this is not going to be something that they're going to let go of anytime soon because of what Alexi just laid out and the kind of conspiracy theories that, this is fueled. And so seeing Trump now take this 180 after, him and his top surrogates talking about this for years, there's going to be a lot of frustration with this. Him now coming and saying, why are we so fixated on this? And, I think it's important to remember too, and I think this is contributing to some of that frustration beyond just the headache of MAGA infighting. It draws more attention to it. It keeps it in the news. And we're going to continue to see this bubble because it's crossing over into the Democratic side as well. House Democrats now using this, asking for DOJ documents. Alexi brought up Musk. I mean, he was at it again this week, kind of raising this question of, how can an administration be trusted without releasing this additional information? So beyond the, the headache that it creates for Trump, creates internally with, his top officials, it's now creating a political headache as well on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah, let me pick up on the internal aspect that you just mentioned with you, Maya, because we have learned that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino is thinking about quitting over all of this. There were reports that even the head of the FBI, Kash Patel, was thinking about resigning. Patel has denied those claims. But with all this uproar, do you expect to see some resignations this week?
Look, I mean, there are calls for replacements. We're seeing some of the MAGA base call this resignations. There's no indications right now that Trump is going to replace Bondi or Patel or Bongino. I mean, there are the rumors that they could resign, but I can also imagine knowing how this White House works, and with this being, kind of at the center, getting all this media attention right now, there are, I would guess, a lot of conversations going on right now about the optics, the media firestorm here, and the best way to navigate this. That's not to say that Patel or Bongino, they won't decide that they ultimately will resign, but I know we've heard Patel, denying this today or this weekend, despite the rumors. And this is a different situation, but I think back to how they handled the shifting around of Mike Waltz, which was kind of one of the big controversies earlier on this year. And, there was that reporting early on that he was going to be booted, but inside there were conversations about not giving the media, not giving Democrats a win. And so it took some time for that move to actually be made. So I think we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, how much more intense that this MAGA uproar gets. It's hard to know right now.
One last question to you, Alexi, because with all this said, do you think this is the last we're going to hear about these Epstein files, or at least sometime soon, or is this going to have some lasting damage at all to Trump or to the movement? And also, what is Trump ally and activist Laura Loomer's role in all this?
Yeah, you've already seen Laura Loomer, who has a huge following on Twitter, is very vocal, usually very closely aligned with the president. She's been calling for Pam Bondi to be fired or to resign. I don't see people letting this go anytime soon, especially because a lot of the folks who are upset are the Laura Loomer types, the people whose very job it is to talk about these issues online, to present different theories of the case to their supporters and their listeners online. And many of those people are MAGA folks, just like the ones who are upset in the administration. And Dan Bongino, if he resigns, has a very popular podcast that he could return to and then continue this conversation outside of the White House administration. So I think we're going to see this for a number of weeks.
Okay.